Crackdown 3 is probably the most talked about Xbox game of this entire generation, next to Scalebound, both which most people think we'll never see again. Scalebound we'll probably never see again, but Crackdown is a different story, and today I'm going to do a totally different video than I usually do. So let's talk about what's really happening with Crackdown 3. In order to make the Xbox One look more appealing back in 2013, Microsoft announced Crackdown and showed off all the bright, beautiful colors of an open-world game made for mayhem. The problem was much wasn't said about the game until another year, and another year, and another year. In 2014, we saw a great CGI gameplay trailer. But by the time 2015 rolled around for E3 and Gamescom, Dave Jones took to media interviews to explain what was the magic behind Crackdown 3. Dave Jones is the creative director, the one that brought the original Crackdown to the Xbox 360 back in 2007. Dave Jones' pedigree isn't entirely prestigious. His last big game was APB Reloaded, an MMO on PC and consoles that just didn't do very well. Dave Jones sat down with IGN in 2015 showing off a multiplayer demo of the destructible environment, showing buildings toppling, concrete breaking apart, and said that all of this was built behind the cloud. Microsoft's cloud, something that Microsoft touted early on. And something that I personally haven't been really excited about, but just to see it implemented just in Crackdown showed the potential of what it could offer. In 2015, the only thing we'd seen of the Crackdown multiplayer destruction was shot off TV screen footage uploaded to YouTube. So midway through the development of Crackdown, most fans and detractors of anything the Xbox was doing, or people that just didn't believe in what Crackdown could be, thought the game looked like trash. It's very common to hear that Crackdown looks like trash or it looks like last generation. But when 2016 rolled around, a little more footage was unveiled. Sumo Digital and Microsoft sent the Rad Brad, a YouTuber, a 10-minute slice of the single-player campaign. Now, personally for me, I really enjoyed this footage and I was really looking forward to the game. The game looked great. It didn't look amazing. It didn't look polished. It didn't look shiny. But it definitely looked like a Crackdown game. So the community was divided. Those who were big fans of Crackdown were happy with what they saw. Those that needed to be pushed over the fence to try out Crackdown still weren't convinced. Microsoft was even ambitious enough to announce in their trailer that a multiplayer deployment was coming out in the summer of 2016. That came and went. This is where the rumors started that multiplayer destruction was just a pipe dream and that would never see the light of day. Then 2017 came. Rumors of the Xbox Scorpio were soon to come to E3 2017. At 2017, Scorpio was announced to launch day one with Crackdown 3. Everything looked really good until they waited until Gamescom shortly after E3 and let the press have a free rein with the game. It was a disaster. People who had no business playing video games in front of a camera, people who don't know how to use a gaming controller, it was a mess. Crackdown 3 had officially become an embarrassment. And before the summer was over, as we were coming close to the release of the Xbox One X, Microsoft announced that they were delaying Crackdown 3 to spring 2018. Crackdown fans waited and waited. Microsoft never talked about Crackdown. And the Xbox One X suffered from not having that flagship title release day one on the console. As we neared spring 2018, close to that delay release date, Microsoft started pushing hard on Xbox Game Pass, announcing that all future exclusive games would release day one included with Game Pass. And on their marketing materials, they included Sea of Thieves, let's not bring that up, and State of Decay 2 and Crackdown 3. Now, as a fan of Crackdown, I was looking at that thinking, if the release is spring 2018, the latest that Crackdown 3 can release is at the end of June. And the closer we got through May and June, and there was no announcement, Phil Spencer tweeted in the early spring that the team had a date and they were committed to it. But something had changed. Phil Spencer explained in an interview with Giant Bomb.
As we started playing more of it, it didn't I'm a big Crackdown fan. It didn't quite feel the way Crackdown should feel.
Yeah.
I mean, the game scope, and I even thought in the trailer that they showed, which was actually all in-game stuff, they moved the camera around and stuff, so it kind of a little more cinematic. But like they have a world that you want to go play in. They have the orbs, they have the lock-on, they have the stuff that makes it feel like Crackdown from that. But I just thought the way the agent moved and stuff that we needed more work. And when we started looking at where we would land, man, you just can't land in the fall with a game like that, right?
This fall is, there are some heavy hitters out there.
So let's go pick a time where we can give the team the time that they need, which I know is disappointing for people that are waiting, but compared to the alternative of just putting out a game that you don't think is ready or shipping in the middle of the blast zones.
Right.
I didn't realize at the time we were going to pick a game that I think there's like 6 other games shipping that same day or something. I'm playing the game. A lot of us are playing the game. The game is all there. It is really about building the best Crackdown game.
Does it still have the initial announce sounded very ambitious with a lot of like, hey, we're going to do physics in the cloud and render that. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I thought we got a little bit into talking about how we're building the game and not talking about the game. So after some of the stuff, I was like, let's not. It's not about power of the cloud, and everybody can find a video of me saying that, so I understand that. But let's just talk about being Crackdown. And I worked on the first Crackdown, so there's still creative work to do. I'm not saying the game's perfect by any stretch right now, but we are committed to the game. We definitely had a heart-to-heart as we were rolling into E3 of if we're going to show this and we're going to say, here's coming. I don't want to head fake the community again, because it's just not fair.
So there's 2 major takeaways from Phil's comments about Crackdown. One is the game wasn't ready, and he felt it wasn't ready, and he wanted it to be more. The other major takeaway that is glossed over very quickly in this interview is this.
The game is all there. It is really about building the best Crackdown game.
Does it still have the initial announce sounded very ambitious with a lot of like, hey, we're going to do physics in the cloud and render that. Is that still the case?
Yeah,
Phil Spencer was asked directly if the multiplayer destruction is still in the game, and he said yes. Here's what happened. At the end of 2017, Dave Jones left CloudGen. CloudGen is the company that was working on the cloud compute for Crackdown 3. And Dave Jones told the media that he wasn't sure if the multiplayer destruction was still in the game. And if it was, he said it wasn't being powered by his technology team he was working with. But around that time, Epic Games acquired the CloudGen company. Here's what Microsoft had to say about CloudGen leaving. The development of Crackdown 3 is not impacted by Epic Games' purchase of CloudGen. We look forward to sharing more on Crackdown 3 and having fans get their hands on the game when it launches in February 2019. Another major thing that people are saying about Crackdown 3 that they're so sure of is that the game is going to get delayed again or possibly canceled. As you heard Phil Spencer say in the interview, the game was almost ready by the end of 2018, but they didn't want to release during that packed holiday schedule. But in true Microsoft fashion, they just happened to land right on another packed holiday schedule around Valentine's Day. And I know Crackdown isn't the most beautiful game by any stretch of the imagination, but there is a change that the game took from last year to this year. And this is from Phil Spencer and his team playing the game and saying it needed more. If you look at the trailer from last year, which is in-game, and the trailer from this year in 2018, there is more sheen, there is more added to the game. It looks like they've added more features, they've added more quality, and just looking at the character model of Terry Crews, it's taken a major overhaul. It's still not going to be the best looking game, but it is a Crackdown game. So the big takeaways from this video is Crackdown will not be delayed again. It will land in February 2019. The other takeaway, the multiplayer destruction is still there. The website still advertises the Wrecking Zone, which is a 10-player co-op destructible mode. And like Dave Jones said, the multiplayer destruction may not be handled by CloudGen, but it may be handled by Microsoft in some other way. So if it's still there, the question is it a pared down version of destruction, or have they come up with another solution? But here's my personal problem with the way they've handled Crackdown. They've put it through many different developers. They've had guns for hire work on the game. I'm sure Microsoft knows that long ago they should have had one of their in-house studios work on the game. But the game has been in development for 5 years. It's seen 2 regular delays. And I know that's not super uncommon. There are some games that have been delayed more than once or more than twice. This is one of those times where Microsoft has used very little transparency. Gamers are really curious about the multiplayer modes, and they want to see more of the game. But this year at Gamescom, Crackdown is not on the listing to be shown. But by then it still has 6 months to release, and a lot needs to happen in development and polish and other quality control. But I wanted to use this chance to show you the trailers, show you the old gameplay, show you the latest gameplay slices in the trailer, which remember, they are actual gameplay, he said, with just the camera moved around. That trailer was also running at 60 frames per second, which they don't normally do unless that's an intention, and I think maybe part of the going back and polish is to address the many requests to offer a performance mode on Crackdown. So I'm pretty sure that they've added in a 60 frames mode because the game was slated to run at native 4K at 30 FPS in the open world. And with the push to get more games at 60 FPS on console, like Dying Light 2 and Forza Horizon 4, I think that Crackdown 3 will have a performance mode to run at 60 FPS as well. But those people who are Crackdown fans, I think they have something really great to look forward to. It's just really too bad that we've had to wait this long with such horrible information and such bad handling of a really fun franchise. Anyway, this is about all of the footage that is out there in the game. The game's just been really hidden, and it's just really too bad. And I hope Microsoft is learning their lessons and they do better and they're more transparent and they get out in front and show people what's going on with the games. If you learned anything from this video and you liked it, please let me know by liking the video. If you're new here, if you haven't seen a lot of my content, please subscribe. Please go back and watch my video from a couple months ago. It's everything we know about Crackdown. Is it delayed? I show a ton of footage. I show some stuff from Gamescom, which was actually really good. The stuff that wasn't focused on by the negative part of the media. Also, there's a lot of information about what the campaign has in it and what it does and what the story's about. And honestly, I'm excited about the game. There's a bunch of stuff coming out, like I said, in the spring. I appreciate the support on the channel. Sorry it's been so long for me to get to content, and that's just how it is. But those of you who stay with my channel, even though you're getting the news late, I really appreciate it. Thanks for everything. I'll see you next week. Gamescom's coming up. We'll be talking about that. Gamers, have a good one. And you probably won't, but at least to me, be nice.